In this game, I'm going to show you a very funny and crazy game of chess. And at the end, I want you guys to post in the comments what you think the elo of these players playing this game is. Okay, and by the way this game went is not going to be educational almost at all, so I'm just going to be making fun of the moves, so just a warning for that, so enjoy. Okay, the game starts off with d4, knight f6, bishop g5, so we have a Trompowsky. So that should already tell you something about the level of the players, right? Black plays c5, striking in the center. White plays d5, keeping the space advantage. And here black plays, well, since taking this knight will double up the pawn structure, black decides, I'm going to play knight in the center, attack your bishop. White decides to defend it with the h pawn, because of course, moving the h pawn is always good. Nowadays, at least for grandmasters. And okay, if black takes the knight, and white gets his rook open, so black doesn't do that. So black plays queen to b6, attacking this pawn that's now undefended because the bishop left. And you could defend this pawn, you could play b3, but you know what? Maybe knight d2 is a little bit better. You attack his knight, and you can take either way, and you can give up a pawn. But okay, black, decides, I'm gonna hang the knight in the center. I'm gonna play h6. If I take, you get the open file, but if I take, I get the open file. So that's exactly what happens. So white takes the knight, black takes the bishop. So far, so good. And white wins a pawn by taking this extra pawn here. At least black's rook is open, but hey, black decides to recapture this pawn on b2. And white, decides, it's time to start developing some pieces. So rook to h3. Also coincidentally defending against the queen c3 threat, but hey, who knows? Now it's black's turn to start developing his pieces, so it goes knight to a6, knight on the rim, of course. Okay, we have e4, and now black says, you know what? Here, have another pawn. Here, have my free c4 pawn, saying that if you take it, then queen b4 will fork you. Okay, but white instead doesn't fall for it and says, rook b1, you take my pawn. I want to give you all my pawns. White does that, or black does that. And now white decides to expand his center with e5. So far, so good. Black decides, knight c7, maybe I need a little defender around my king. So far, nobody developed almost anything, which is very funny. But just wait. White plays rook a1, attacking this queen, and doesn't have anywhere to go. Only move is queen b2. Now, again, white can't really take this because of queen b4, so decides, okay, c3. Fine, c3, maybe now I can take it, which is why black plays, b5, defending this pawn that they were trying to give up earlier. Okay, we have rook b1. Now, again, queen is low on squares. These are the only two. But okay, well, black plays queen to a2. And then we have this move, bishop to e2. Okay, finally we're starting to develop some actual pieces. Now black decides, white played his rook to h3 developing. Why not do the same with mine? So rook to h6. And now white, of course, knows about the principle of moving your pieces multiple times at the opening. So he plays bishop to f3. Boom, boom. Well, at least he's making a threat of d6 on this rook. So black plays rook b8. And now white, decides, it's a bad thing to move the piece twice in the opening, so I'm going to do it 3 times. So boom, 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 in a row. So the bishop's climbing up the board, all in succession. Okay, I have bishop b7, developing the bishop. And now we have this move. Says, my pawn's defended here twice, attacked twice, so it's perfectly fine. But you know what? Just take it. Just take it. Now it's not only defended 1 time. But Black doesn't do that for some reason. Maybe the queen is about to get trapped by rook a1 and rook a3, so black decides, you know what, I'm gonna connect my queen and rook. Now they're holding hands from afar. Okay, so white just says, okay, this threat was a failure, so I'm gonna make another threat. Queen to f4, a sort of scholar's kind of checkmate idea on this f7 square. Everyone learns the f7 trick in the beginning and in the opening, right? But you know what everyone else learns? Ben Feingold, and he says that f6 is always a good move, so you should play it. Okay, now white decides, you know what? He realizes this pawn has been hanging for a bit, so you know what? Maybe I should have not moved my queen from d1. So at least bring the rook to d1 to defend this knight, forgetting that the knight was just attacked. Okay, well, I guess black was scared for some reason to take that knight, so he plays b4. He says, you know what? Just take my pawns. Just, take all my pawns. No problem. Well, okay. Now white mouse slips and plays e6. I guess he wanted to take the pawn to not drop the knight, but I guess he kind of mouse slipped or something. So at least somehow is attacking this knight. So black says, you know what? Let's get a queen trade. I know my queen has been out. I don't want to lose it. I don't want to get a trap. So let's just get a queen trade. Now of course you don't want to lose your queen, but you also want to give a check. We always love giving checks. Now, of course, you could play, queen takes like a normal human being, but why not king takes? We've also heard about the Bon Cloud stuff, so why not something like that? Okay, now giving checks is good, so queen to g4 check. And okay, just bring the king back, no problem. Okay, now white realizes, okay, wait a minute, my knight's been hanging for how long? Okay, fine, let's go in. Knight to e6. And now black's like, you know what? Since I moved both my rooks, I can't castle. King d7 is not good. I'm gonna put my king on f7. King to f7. And now this knight is like so strong, but maybe it's getting attacked. Maybe it's threatened. So okay. Goodbye, knights. Goodbye, strong knights. Knight takes, knight takes. But at least you get queen to e6 checkmate. Oh wait, what? Oh wait, it's not checkmate. Okay. That's I guess what the player must have thought. But anyway, the king goes back. So king went a little to the left, a little to the right, but I guess home is the best place to be. Okay, now, I mean, this rook, remember, it came out, so why not just bring it into the game? Rook e3, maybe threaten some sort of checkmate. Okay, queen to d7. Okay, you want to trade queens, I get it. But white says, you know what? I really don't want to trade queens. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make it a knight. I'm gonna play the queen to g8. Okay, that's an interesting place for a queen to be. Okay, black says, you know what? What do I do? I gotta attack something, so f5, attacking the bishop. Okay, at least you get that. White goes bishop to b1, completing the circuit. And now it's in place of a knight, so we got two places in places of knights, two pieces in places of knights, so it's kind of an interesting thing. Black goes rook to d8, I guess, trying to trap white's queen on g8. You know what? How do you defend this spot, actually, now that I think about it? You could play something like d6, but I guess this rook's going to take it. Finally, this rook's useful. So there's only really one way. Rook to e5. Defending this pawn and not getting your queen trapped. Now, by the way, I just want to point out that these pawns have been staring at each other for like a 10 moves or so. Just pointing that out. Well, now white's defending the pawn, but coincidentally also attacking this pawn. So how do you defend it? That's right, rook f6. Rook f6. So everything's good, but we still got a piece to develop. So knight f3. And now we have this move, queen to d6. Not sure what the idea. Maybe to defend this pawn, because it's been hanging for the past 20 moves. Or maybe he thinks This rook's attacked, even though it's not. It's defended. But okay, so, I mean, what else do you do here is white? I mean, you could maybe take this pawn, but why not? It's just king f1. Why not? Okay, black says, you know what? I heard the connected, or like protected passed pawns are good, so I guess he's trying his luck at that. He declines this pawn, but I guess the passed pawn is better. Okay, white finds this pawn has been hanging for the last move, so he decides to take it. And black says, you know what, my king's been here, been here. You know, let me go, let me go. I'm out of here. White plays knight to g5, I guess trying to replace his dead knight from e6 that he traded. King to c8. Okay, so at least black castled, right? At least you could maybe say the black castle, right? But you know what? Black blundered. Now it's a fork. He just got forked. He castled, but he got forked. And now here black takes inspiration from white. So you know how white put his queen deep in like black's position? You know what? Black says, I'm gonna do the same. Queen to h2. Just like white did. Now, I mean, this rook is saying, if you don't do anything about it, which guess what? You don't do anything about it. Say, just take this pawn, take my rook, take everything. Give me a check, take everything, take it. Okay, black says, yeah, sure, thank you for the rook. But white had a little trick up their sleeve. This queen that's been here for too long is sniping this pawn. Queen takes c4, that was the point, okay. Now, if you go here, I guess queen c7 is kind of bad. So, okay, king decides, maybe castling isn't for me. I'm going to go back. So it's trying to find the home. Like, it's kind of hard to find the home for this king, but you know what? Okay, queen c7 check. Losing the bishop, but you know what? It's okay because you're up a rook, right? You're up a rook. Who cares about the bishop? Well, black says, you know what? Just take my rook. Take my bishop, take my rook. Both pieces are hanging. King's on e6. What's going on? So, what's better? Is it better to take the rook or the bishop? Well, of course, the bishop. The bishop. Now, this pawn's been kind of far away, so black decides, okay, I'm gonna take it. Now I finally could develop the bishop for the first time. It's already moved. By the way, it's move 41 right now, and this bishop can finally move a square. Finally move a square. On move 42, it could move a square. Okay, knight to g3. I guess sort of, stopping this scary check on h1. Oh, and also attacking this rook that, was came so far. Rook e5, okay, maybe sealing white's king for some sort of checkmate, but yeah, not yet. You know what? White says, you know what? I like giving checks, so I could give this one, but this one's closer to the king, so I'm gonna take that. Obviously, giving two pieces for a rook is better. But you know what? This knight, you can take it, but why not just, get this bishop out? Why not just bring this bishop out? So white's like, okay, whoa, he didn't take my knight. I'll go back. Okay, I'm gonna stop this scary check. Well, black's like, I don't even know what to do anymore. I'm just gonna start moving my king randomly. Now white wants to take this pawn, but I guess maybe just drop the piece right before it. And black's like, okay, I'm just out of here. I'm just out of here. And white sees, oh wait, I could have taken this pawn so long ago, like for so many moves. Okay, I'll take it. And you know how I said this bishop can finally develop? It's move 47 now, and it finally develops one square. It finally does. Now the queen comes right back here to attack some things. Bishop comes in to attack the rook. Rook moves away, attacking the bishop. Now all the rooks are starting to get developed, like on the f-file or something. Like, what's going on? Like, all the rooks are getting lifted, and now the queen's trapped, and you can't even take here with the queen. Like, what's going on? So the queen's trapped, but you want to try to get it out somehow, right? I mean, why not? Well, you know how rook f4 was played last move? You know, maybe I want rook g4. You know how the rook is placed here for, to attack this? Now it can't attack anymore. King h7. And we gotta give checks. Checks are just some of the best feeling moves in chess. So, boom, queen to b1, check. Hoping that, if he goes king to h6, there's queen to g6 checkmate. So, oops. Let me find this move again. We have queen b1 check. So, okay, black luckily avoids getting mated, but we have rook to b4. Trying to come from the other end, I guess. Okay. Bishop e5, just, okay, defending against it. Sure. Maybe attacking this knight so you can finally get your queen out of the h2 square. Okay, we have queen to g6, getting close to the king. And we have rook takes h4, which blunders, of course. Queen to e6 check. Okay, white decides to play queen to e8 and take this free bishop on e5. Great. Now white's up a piece. But you know what? These rooks have kind of been staring at each other. I don't know if you noticed, but these rooks have been staring at each other. So black sees that. And unfortunately, black is now just down a knight, down a piece. So g6, and nothing too crazy happens from here on out. But let's see, can white convert it? Can white convert this game? Okay, I'm gonna move till here, and now white says, you know how I'm up a piece? You know how I'm up a piece? Just take it back. Just take it back. Just take it back. But black, for some reason, he misses that you can just take this free knight, so we'll moves the king. Obviously, there would be a check here, winning the queen, by the way. So he moves the king, knight c5, king f6. So this king has been like dancing around the whole board. And I mean, queen takes d5, and it's pretty much game over. So let's see, I'm going to go through the moves a little bit quicker, and let's see what happens. So we have queen h1 check, finally this queen doing something. And now we have queen to a1, just, sliding across the back rank. Knight d7 check. Oh, and now white does it. He sees that the queen is the problem. So if you just trade those queens, everything would be so much easier. That's actually a very, very good idea. d6, white takes the final pawn. And I mean, I guess he wanted to defend it, but forgot. But anyway, white just makes a queen. And let's see, is there going to be a stalemate? Is there going to be a stalemate? Is there going to be a stalemate? Is there going to be queen b3? Is there going to be king c2? No. No. White does it. So white wins this game, this real mess of a game. So now it's your turn. What do you think the ratings of these players were? Put it in the comments. And now I'm going to reveal who this game was played by. It was played on my computer between Berserk 13 and Slow Chess Blitz 2.9. Berserk's rating is 3,600, guys. If you said anything lower than that, that's the true answer.